Welcome back, everybody. Automotive Inc. Today we finally reached the point where we're going to change or do our first oil change in the 26 Ram Cummins. If you guys saw my other video, you know what kind of oil I'm going to run. I'm actually going to run the warmer weather 10W30, and I'm going to run the Valvoline Premium Blue, the only oil that's endorsed by Cummins. I have about 5,000 miles on this. Typically, I don't let my new engines go this far, but to be honest with you, back on my old new Cummins, this is the ones I had from like 2003 to 2000. My other one was 16. It always said let them run 6,000 miles, so those are the only ones that I did those at 6,000 on their first one. And of course I did the Duramax early, and all the Power Strokes always did at 5,000. Gas engines I usually do 1,000 to 3,000, but anyway, this is going to be a DIY video, so you guys can do it all at home, save yourself some money. I will link everything down below. I did find some cheaper filters on the Mopar Star on the Amazon, so you guys can find that there. You also can buy the Valvoline Premium Blue on there if you want to run that. Again, you guys can run whatever brand that you want. I will just forewarn you, please don't play mad scientist with changing the weights other than the 2 weights that they allow. It could come back to haunt you, so I would just stick with the 2 that they recommend. Now, if you're in colder weather climates, the 5W40 is the other one that they're going to do. Valvoline makes a premium blue in that, full synthetic or a synthetic blend, whichever one you want to run. Just always go with what they recommend in weights. And then when it comes to your filters, you guys do you, boo. If you like wicks, if you like whatever, do that. I prefer to run GM. I prefer to run Mopar. I know people say there's better filters out there, but to be honest with you, it meets it. Now, I will say this, on this Cummins, it does actually say Fleet Guard on it, on the actual oil filter housing, because this does have not an actual round screw-on filter. This actually just has one of the canister ones. So you could go with that brand if that's what you choose. So before we get started, if you don't mind, smash the subscribe button, thumbs up, notification bell. Let's get started. So first things first, guys, if you're going to do your own oil change, you got to have a pan big enough to hold 3 gallons or however many quarts you're going to be draining out of there. So this is a 16 quart, so a 4-gallon reusable pan. We'll take our cap out, pop our air vent hole here, we'll set that aside. I'll link all of this crap down below, so if you're wondering what tools or whatever I'm using, get them on Zon, cheap. They're nondescript. I'm not sponsored by them, so it's up to you guys, whatever you want to do. Always make sure you properly recycle your old oil. You can do that at most of your auto parts stores. Some government maintenance buildings also offer oil drop-off, but that's up to you. So we're going to get this lit up and get underneath there. All right, so underneath here, guys, that is our oil pan. There is our drain plug. That is actually just going to be a square end 3/8 ratchet. So mad props for Ram for getting it not only at the bottom of the pan, there is a slight indentation, but there is a lot of concern that these pans hold a lot of extra oil after we drain them. So one thing I'll tell you is about, especially like on the Duramax, they say that that pan, the OEM pan, can actually hold about a quart roughly of old oil. You can go through the craziness of changing out your pans if you feel that is appropriate, but I found just to buy a cheap suction pump that sucks heavy viscosity oils and liquids off of Amazon for 20 bucks. Stick those in there and suck it out. It's out. There's always going to be some residual. Whether it plays into it or not, we don't know. Also, when it comes to the Cummins, we don't know what oil weight is typically shipped with this engine. My belief is they probably ship it with the heavier oil in it because they don't know what climate it's going to go to, and that will cover all of them. But in this climate, we're just going to run the 1030. So make sure your engine is not boiling hot, but you'll want it to be at least have warmed up some, or run it like 5 minutes if it's cold. Get that oil moving through there so it's not like coming out of the syrup. We're going to get that pulled out real quick. Remember, lefty-loosey, and we'll show you what it looks like. All right, so we can get a better angle here, guys. You're going to let that go. Now, again, I drove the truck to work this morning. I'm doing it in between my shifts. So we came out of there fast, like a rocket, because it was still hot, and made a mess. But wouldn't be an oil change without it. So just get yourself some cheap cat litter from the old Wally World, and you can clean that mess up real quick. So that's going to come out pretty quick, again, because it's a straight drop. There's nothing for it to get around. So it's basically already done dripping. And so now we're going to get up here and I'll show you the filter you're going to need. Again, it'll be linked down below. Show you how we're going to take it off. And we'll go from there. All right, so underneath the hood, get some light. Remember, your hood is aluminum, so you need a magnet type light or a hanger light so you can see. You can see right here, here's our torque force. Go ahead, if you have a dirty one, clean all of this off before you do. We can see our fleet guard marking here. This is going to be a 28 millimeter. We don't need to mess with this. And we can just go ahead and turn this counterclockwise. And of course, hopefully we don't have too much oil spewing out of here, but keep a rag handy. So we're going to get our socket wrench out and get that out. All right, once you get the cap off, I'd just tell you to turn it a couple times. It just kind of loosens this up because this shaft's going to stay in here. Then you're going to hear it kind of gurgle as you pull the cartridge out. Now it's going to have a lot. It's going to be saturated with a lot of oil. So have something, a bucket or something that you can set it in if you have a desire to really look it over and take a look. But we're going to pull it out. We'll take a look down in there with a flashlight. We're going to get this over the bucket real quick. All right, so we got it over our bucket, guys. We have our new one here. I don't know why I always have a brain fart, but these cartridge filters, not a canister filter, this is a Mopar branded one out of the box. And there's your OEM part number. Now, to get one specifically, 2526, it's the same engine, same filter. That's why you can snag a little bit better deal on them, because anything that says 26 on it's going to be a little bit more. But they are the exact same part number. They do look identical. So if we look here, you might be thinking, wow, that filter is pitch black. In reality, though, the oil on the dipstick actually looked really, really good. So again, we lined up everything. Everything looks the same. You want to clean off that part number and confirm it. Again, like I've told you guys before, Ram's always done this. So like 22 running boards actually fit on a 26. They didn't really change too much. And this filter was made in October of 25, so fairly recent. So again, you can see right here, we want to make sure a couple things. One, we get this rubber piece that stays in there and that the old O-ring stays on the old one. We want to make sure that that's not left inside. Now let's go over and take a flashlight and look inside there. All right, so looking down in here, guys, I did this without the camera so I could look in there better. I don't see anything that alarms me. I don't see glitter. I don't see anything crazy. I didn't anticipate to. And once we got that popped off, we could hear everything kind of gurgle down. So that's why we left the drain pan bolt out. And now we're just going to, we can see we have enough oil down in there to reseat that, but we're going to go ahead and just re-grease those new ones. So inside the kit, we have our new O-ring, we have our premium blue here, and we have our new filter. Usually when you pull the cap off your oil here, you're gonna have enough to grease it. We're gonna take this on our finger and we're gonna rub it around this area, and we're gonna, if we need more, but we're gonna put the oil around this entire brown O-ring here, and we'll do the same on this. Again, if you don't get one, you can reuse the one that's on the canister cap or the cartridge cap, but if you do get a new one, replace it. All right, again, 28 millimeter is what you're going to do to get that off. It wants you to, it even gives you instructions in the Fleet Guard kit to look down there. If you see any debris, which heaven forbid you should have any, wipe it out before you put the new one in. Now, there's no specific orientation on this, so when you put this in, it just says that there's going to be a tangible feedback when it's fully seated. Do not use the cartridge cover to seat it. So there's your tangible feedback. If we remember, this was sticking up out of the other one. So it's seated. We heard the click. It's good. That's why, again, you try and lube it, even with the fresh new oil. You're good there. And then it wants you to actually do that with the cap also. So if you don't have an O-ring puller or like a little awl that you can grab it, you can probably pull that off with your fingernail. It wants you to lube this with new oil. And we'll clean the cap out again because I carried the old filter over in it. All right, so we got the new one installed. We cleaned this out. I never have fingernails, so I don't know why I tell people to pull off a fingernail, but you can use like just don't use anything metallic to pull the old O-ring out. You don't want to mar up those things, but now we're just going to line it up and get this basically started. Again, it's 18 foot-pounds of torque, 25 newtons. To get it torqued, it will almost always, when you tighten it up, be in the same place, but it may not necessarily. So if you remember this being on the bottom. So we're going to get this tightened down with the torque wrench, and then we'll be ready to put the plug back in and start adding the oil. All right, so as expected, this was right where it was. So if you just want to make a white mark on something, you can do that if you don't have a torque wrench. just get it tight. This is a composite lid, and of course probably aluminum or steel housing, so we want to be very careful. It says you can actually damage it if you're trying to pry that filter out of there. So it must be something you can break easy. We don't want to mar any of that. Same thing with over tightening it. If this metal's hard than the other one, it could, jack the threads up or something. So it all ended up right where it was at. We'll come back here and check for leaks later. I'm gonna go down and put the drain plug in. It's just gonna be righty-tighty, and wipe up the pan, and then we'll come up, put some oil in. All right, so for the next parts, guys, I'm gonna break out the coolest freaking thing I got. I have a separate video on it, specifically unboxing it, but it's one of these freaking funnels. So sick. Has a valve on it. Forget about dripping, forget about dumping oil all the way down to your canister while you're trying to top it off at the very end, and trying to hold it there. And it has all the little necks and stuff in there. I'll link this down below. They have a bunch of different brands. They're all basically the same, so nothing specific. But what's cool is it gives you these magnetic holders here, and each one of these is specific. Chrysler, Subaru, etc., a whole bunch of them. And it touches on base. So Chrysler has 2 different kinds of oil-filled nozzles. And this thing is wicked cool, because what it does is you bring that neck over, you put it in the hole, this bad boy hooks in there, you dump your oil in, you don't have to hold it. If it's tight, snug, you can shut it off with that valve at any point. Then when you do take it off, you only have to worry about the one drip, not your jug that it ran down the side or anything like that. And if you have to stop and add incrementally, it does have fairly accurate measurements on here. So you can turn the valve on and off, not sit there and try and keep tipping it. And if you have extra, you put the lid on it, drain it back in your jug. So now we're gonna go ahead and get this bad boy hooked in the hole and start adding our 12 quarts. All right, so see, that's how it is. You can fill it up, you can put the cap on it, come back later and check it and top it off. We don't have our little run here. Best 38 bucks I spent in a long time. Again, I'll link it down below. I'm not endorsed by the thing. Now we'll open up our valve, and it is fairly accurate. This is about half the jug, and there is your 2 quarts. So yeah, we're gonna get rolling. We can see it rolling there. We'll just do 1 jug, and then I'll do the rest. Again, like I've always told you guys before on any other oil changes I've done, is make sure you get close. If this is 12, we're gonna stop at 10 and just see if any residual oil has shown us to full. Keeping in mind that filter, that cartridge filter, will suck up some. That housing had some in it. How much? It's not a huge amount, but we don't want to overfill any of our oil here. So super slick. So we're going to get the rest of the oil in here. Because this oil is not hot, it's thin, thicker. We're going to give it 5-10 minutes at that 10 quart max. Then check it. We've wiped off our dipstick. And again, this oil, whatever brand it may have been, I would have to believe it's Valvoline that came from the factory, but maybe not. It looked really good for 5,000 miles. Most diesels, after it does a couple of those regens and everything, it's usually pitch black. This stuff actually had a brown tint to it, so pretty tickled how that worked out. And then once we get it all topped off, you guys know how to read a dipstick, so I don't need to show you that. We'll get it topped off, of course. Always start it, let it run for about 5 minutes. Make sure you have oil pressure building up. Come out, check, and make sure you don't have any leaks from your drain plug and or where your filter connection is, whether you have a cartridge filter, you have the old oil filter that spun on an older one. This process is going to be very similar, although the oil weights have changed. I'm going to have a separate video on how to reset the oil life monitor, so if you already know how to do it, you don't have to worry about it. If you do need to know how to do it, head down to the description. You guys have to scroll down. I put a lot in the descriptions for you guys, products and whatnot that you can look at, other video stuff. So just scroll to it, you'll find it. I do the title, put the link below. You can check that out on how to reset that, guys. But I am excited. We'll check back on another video, seeing if this weight of oil helped fuel economy or anything, we notice anything different, and just how good it looks again at about another 5,000. As always, guys, this is way below the recommended manufacturer one. They saying 10 to 15,000. No way, Jose. So we're gonna get it topped off and catch you on the next one.